Hello, welcome back to Up the Villa. This is our match preview for Aston Villa v Young Boys. If you're new to the channel, make sure you are subscribing, hit that like button. You can also hype the episode up and comment your thoughts on everything that me and Earl discuss on this episode. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks.
I mean, every Villa fan is doing all right, I think, with how we are playing, how we're performing. Sort of how you feeling about Villa at the minute? Because I think I sort of get you in a little block, don't I? Like we have a few games and then you come back on. So how are you actually feeling about Villa overall at the minute?
Yeah, I mean, can't complain, can we? Top four in the Premier League. Yeah, seems like we're on a bit of a streak. So hopefully we can keep that up in the next few games as well.
Yeah, well, talking about streak, the thumbnail has winning habit on the writing and the text of the thumbnail, which I actually feel like is really important to just keep winning football games. Sometimes doesn't matter how you play as long as you're winning them. And we've now got 8 wins in our last 10 games, which is a phenomenal number of wins. And I think hearing Emery's sort of the words that he always uses the word consistency. And I actually feel like Premier League side of things, that is going to be very important in this Premier League campaign. I think I look at the teams that are in and around us competing. You're looking at, say, Brighton, Palace, Sunderland at the minute. Can those teams remain consistent? And the ones that remain consistent will be the ones that do really well, in my opinion, because I do think it has a little bit of everybody sort of beating everybody. Look at the game against Man United, Everton. Man United, you're thinking that's a banker at home. Not consistent, didn't win, 3 points beyond Villa. So I think it's really important to remain consistent and it's key to achieve. And I think results, patterns of play are important, consistent in performances, consistent in rotating players. Who comes in can just slot in and seamlessly sort of carry out the task, really. So how important do you think sort of like remaining consistent is for Villa?
Yeah, I think it's big as well. To be honest, I think the thing with Villa and consistency is we've got to be consistent when we rotate the side, especially with this being a Europa League game. I'm assuming there's going to be some rotation. But we got the players that come in have got to keep that consistency, got to keep that streak, that momentum. So I think that's the big thing for me. Yeah, it's being consistent, but within that, it's keeping consistent within the rotation, I think.
Yeah, sort of having no drop off. That's important. And I think you look at the players that, I mean, we'll do a little predicted lineup in a bit, but you're looking at, say, like a Bogard. Now, he's been very good this season. There hasn't really been a drop off with Bogard. So I think that's really important, like you're saying, that all around the team, everybody knows their role. And I think also what's good at the minute is I think we kind of do have sort of like an 11 or 12, 13 players that are the core, that are, you might say, is it Onana or Tielemans? You might have that. Is it Marlon or Buendia? You'll have those two, but everywhere else, it's pretty set. So players like Matson, Sancho, Gesson, you want to see them show something to maybe start thinking, okay, you're performing well. You can perform in the team and get in the team, etc. So I think that's really important. So we'll have a little bit of a quick chat about the league table, because I think what's pretty decent at the minute and what is possibly going to happen this game week is that I think that top's going to change a little bit. I look at some of the games that are coming up. So Midtjylland have got Roma away. So that's first v 18th, and I expect Roma to get better. So I think that's a tough game. We've got Rangers rock bottom against Braga, who are fifth. We've got Fenerbahce versus Ferran Varos, who are third, which I think is a tough game for them, who are third. And then we've got Victoria Pilsen, who are eighth, v Freiburg, that are second. This feels like a bit of an opportunity now for Villa to kind of climb a few places in that table. Earl, how are you looking at this table sort of taking shape? Because we're kind of halfway through now. What's your vibe at the minute with the Europa? Are we looking at trying to get 1 and 2? And where do you sort of think we are, and how's the competition shaping up?
Yeah, it's obviously a new format. We saw it last year in the Champions League as well, but it's still a bit hard to gauge for me. We saw what PSG did in the Champions League last season compared to what they did in the group stage. So I'm kind of unsure how much it matters. As long as we're in it, I think we're in it to win it. Is my opinion. So just
I love that,
stay in
mate.
it, and we're in a position to win it. I think.
I think you're spot on, because if I look at this table, I'm looking at Forest, for example. Now, they're going to be pretty decent in this competition, I think. Lille, Roma, Fenerbahce away, tough game. We've got them anyway. Porto, there's Leon. There's a lot of good teams that are like ambling around 17, 18th. So I think if we can get the advantage and be 1 and 2, then perfect. And I've kind of maintained it that if we are the favourites to win it, like, let's act like favourites all the way through, and let's remain at the top. Let's not be in and around 9th, 10th, 15th, and like you build and you grow. Like, none of that. I want us to be like right up there if we are the favourites, and I think that's probably how Emery's looking at it at the same time. I want to touch on a player, Earl, that does he get stick? I don't know. Jadon Sancho. We're gonna have a little chat about Sancho, because I actually feel like he's actually doing all right for me. And I think Emery's at this moment in time is kind of using him as a bit of a system player, somebody that's sort of not really got loads of license to attack, but just be very safe in what he wants. And I think ball retention is probably the big thing that I think he likes with Sancho. I'm just going to run through some of his numbers then. So 5 Premier League appearances, no starts. He's got a passing accuracy of 91%, 94% in his own half. So that's pretty decent. He's got 85% success in the opposition half, with a 40% dribble success in the Premier League. Now, the Europa League, where he's getting 3 appearances, 2 starts, he's got 89% passing accuracy, 80 in his own half, 76 in the opposition, and 71% successful dribbles. How are you feeling? Because like I mentioned, I think he's very ball retention. We saw it sort of in the Leeds game, etc., to just come on, keep the ball. My challenge for him now is that I kind of want to see a goal or an assist. I want to see a number. I want to see him sort of not be unleashed, but a little bit more licensed. Because I think if I look at him compared to Rashford, Rashford was allowed to tear down, nutmeg, do what he wants. But Sancho, to me, is not allowed to do that right now. So how are you viewing Sancho so far?
Yeah, I think the passing accuracy point is really big and quite interesting for me. I think it's probably quite rare that you see a winger with that kind of that high level of passing accuracy, talking 90%. It's quite rare, because these type of players are usually asking to create chances, maybe play a bit more of a risky, dangerous pass in the final third. But it has, like you've been saying, been very focused on that ball retention aspect of it. I'm wondering if it's part of building that trust with Emery, for Emery having that trust in him that he's not going to give the ball away cheaply. I think that's obviously a big part of the Emery system and how he wants to play, having that control. But yeah, I completely agree. It is only a loan. There's only so much of the season left, and at some point you've got to go beyond that, just ball retention kind of phase, and contribute some goals and assists, like you're saying, and create some chances. I think we've seen it in flashes, but obviously nothing on the score sheet yet.
Yeah, I think when you're looking at sort of like the attacking passing accuracy, sometimes you don't want it to be that perfect at times. I know you've mentioned this before, that there's got to be a bit of risk there. But when I look at these numbers, I'm gauging he's being told to have no risk. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you'd see him put the ball in the box numerous times when he gets it. But obviously, a little bit like when Matty Cash sort of cuts back quite a lot, sometimes goes backwards. That's just not down to him. That's a system-based thing. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how he does. I think getting fit, and just these are the games where I'm pretty sure he's going to start. He's going to get minutes. The link up with Matsson's always going to be there as well. So I think that's really interesting then. So what we'll do is we'll predict the Villa lineup, and then we'll have a look at two of the graphics that you've designed then, Earl. But what I'm going to do is I've actually already done the lineup, right? So I've done it. You can let me know whether you disagree, and I'm going to show you something that I've done too, this graphic as well. And right, so this is my team. So I've gone with Bezot in goal. Personally, I think he can play in this game for me. I think we need to see him. I think Martinez, I don't think he needs to play, to be honest, Martinez, because we've got a huge game at the weekend. Huge, right? So I've gone with Maatsen, Pau, Konsa, Lindelof. I think you could put Lindelof for Konsa or Cash, vice versa. I've gone with Bogard and Yuri, Sancho left, Gesson right, Buendia and Watkins. Now, the circles indicate the players that will be coming out the team for Sunday. So I'd swap, for example, Gesson for McGinn, Sancho for Rogers, Buendia for Marlon, Kamara for Bogard, Lindelof for Cash, Digne for Maatsen, and Bezot for Martinez. Do you disagree with any of this, or do you like the team?
Yeah, I like it 100%. Mine is exactly the same.
Okay, well, that's a short, sharp part of
Yeah.
that segment then. Something that I will mention, because sometimes we have a little bit of a mare when we're doing the Europeans, and we go, "What about Barkley?" And it's like the comments are like, "He's not in the squad." And when I've done it, I'm like, "Oh my god, he's not in the squad." But I don't know how this stacks up, because Barkley was in the last European squad. So I found this. So Ross Barkley has been included in Aston Villa's squad to face Maccabi Tel Aviv this evening. The midfielder could make his first appearance. That's because he wasn't initially named in Villa's A-list squad for the Europa League group stage. So when he was named on the bench to face Maccabi, supporters were understandably confused. To clear things up, Barkley has now been added to the List A squad, with Tyrone Mings removed due to injury. Each club is permitted to make one change to their A-list squad before match day 6 of the Europa League group stage. So, with Barkley available, would you put Barkley for Yuri or not?
It's a good question. I think because Yuri didn't play the full 90, I think he's probably in line to start. But I think we probably will see Barkley at some point. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, I agree. I'm actually really liking Barkley at the minute. I think he's looking pretty tidy. I mean, he burst forward and got that free kick that Rogers stuck away. So, yeah, I think that's the lineup that we would go with. You could go sort of like Marlon Watkins, but I kind of want Marlon for Wolves, and I think that's got 7 changes, so we will rotate a bit. But I think the game on Sunday is so important because we know what type of game it is. It's a derby. I think we've got to focus on it being a derby because I think sometimes Villa don't treat it like one, and these rock up like prime Barcelona, tick-a-tackering all around us. So, yeah, big game, and I think Emery always goes Premier League's the priority, so it is the priority. So, yeah, it's really important that we get that victory. Right, oh, you've done some nice little graphics as usual. So we've got young boys right here. I'll let you talk us through your graphic, mate.
Yeah, I was just having a quick look this morning because I know next to nothing about young boys. They look quite different to, but we obviously played them last year in the Champions League. Thought they looked quite different because I was looking at the squad. I think the only player that I really remembered was number 3, the left back, Hadjam. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I put together this passing network. It's based on the 4 games that they've played so far in the Europa, all combined. They've had a few changes in the squad, but it's been fairly settled throughout the Europa League, kind of like a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2 with a number 10. Who's there, number 37 years. But yeah, they're very left-sided dominant, it seems like. I think their left back is probably their best player for me. Their most creative player. Gets a lot of touches, gets forward, like you can see from the average positions there on the passing network. I think he's got 4 league assists. None in the Europa League so far, but in their domestic league, I think he's got 4. Most chances created, that sort of thing as well. So I think he's kind of their main creative threat. The striker there, number 29, I think he's about 6'3", looks like big striker. I think he's averaging like a goal every 90 minutes in the Swiss league, but I think he's got 1 in 4, I think, in the Europa. So. Yeah.
I don't discourage any striker these days in Europe, mate. No, I'm
want to get
wary of them all.
LP'd.
Definitely. I just hope our striker can find his shooting boots.
Yeah, so the passing network here with the arrows that you can see, they are 15 or more passes, and then the brighter arrows are the more frequent passes. So yeah, like I say, it's a lot of wing play, a lot of passing triangles down that left side.
Yeah, I think wing play. This graphic shows perfectly the areas that they get into and pass the ball, etc. So that sort of like you're looking at that left hand side, very dominant. The right hand side, it's got a bit as well. So I think outside is where they're going to look to try and probably hurt us. And if you're saying they've got a big striker, get the ball into him as well, get some crosses in, etc. So, so kind of shutting out those areas, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So this graphic here is showing, it's like a heat map showing where successful passes end. So the red color is obviously lots of passes into that area. So again, you can see that lots of passes into the left back, left winger, who are playing in those triangles, like I say, on the left hand side. And you can see there is a bit of the heat map spot around the penalty area as well. Crosses into the box. I think they might have had a penalty as well. So yeah, that's what I'm expecting.
Top work as always, mate. I'm actually quite looking forward to it. I feel like I'm slowly getting into the Europa League. I feel like this phase of it's all right, but like I just feel like there's an inevitable ending that we get out the group. So I'm kind of like really, like the Champions League last year, it was in and around the top 8, and it's like there's that jeopardy of dropping out of it, and you're thinking, oh no, like it's really important. How amazing would it be for Villa to get top 8? Whereas this time round, I think I'm not taking Europe for granted, but I feel like I'm just starting to get a bit used to Europe as a game that happens rather than it being like, whoa, it's like Europe. I mean,
Yeah.
how are you feeling about sort of like the Europa League?
Yeah, it's definitely seems a lot more normal nowadays. You know, when we were first in the Conference League, it was like, wow, we're back in Europe, and then obviously the Champions League, like you say, was another level. I think it's just different vibes, isn't it? Because we're widely regarded as the favourites for this competition. So it feels a bit different. But we've seen a way at go ahead Eagles. We can't let that kind of complacency creep in. So yeah,
No,
have
and
to try and get up for
yeah,
it.
definitely, because we even had moments against Maccabi Tel Aviv where,
Yeah,
some of them were like close to being offside. Were they offside? They let the play go on a little bit, and some crosses went in the box, and you're like, hold on a minute, like they're actually like showing a bit here. So I think it's just important that Villa dominate, and like we mentioned earlier, if it is Matson, Sancho, that combination looks strong down the left. Lindelof minutes. I think he's had a certain amount of minutes now where I'm starting to think you've got to start to have really clean performances. No, nothing shaky, no little wobbles, etc. Bogard looks seamless, etc. If Watkins starts up top, I'll get a goal. Just get a goal somehow. Try and just build on some confidence.
yeah,
Guess on if he starts. Let's see what you like going forward now. And it's kind of similar to the Sancho thing. It's sometimes it's quite safe, but just when you do get that opportunity to attack, express yourself and be confident. So I think we are a pretty well structured team, and just take that little bit of a risk when you get it, maybe. And I think that will start to give fans a little bit more like, oh, do you know what? He can beat a man. He can put a ball in, and I think that performance can grow really, because I think his game time has now dropped a little bit, hasn't it? So, he's probably been training and being coached by Emery. So let's see what they've kind of been working on, really. One player that we've not mentioned, and we'll end the show, is Elliot. So I don't expect him to play. Do you?
it's not looking like it, is it? With him not even being in the squad at the weekend. Yeah, it's looking like it's not going to happen for him. But yeah, we'll see. But I don't think so.
Yeah, neither do I. Right, cool, mate. It's been great having you back on, and hopefully when I see you again, then we might be another episode to follow on from this. But after that, hopefully we're still riding high in the Premier League, mate, up the Villa.